Welcome to TigerWolf. I'm Josh, and this is David.
Please be aware, this podcast contains strong language and spoilers.
Today, we'll be talking about some mysteries in our world. Welcome to DeCryptid. We'll be talking about the Rougarou and the
Thunder Bird.
This is Josh, and I'll be going first with mine, which is the Rougarou, or the Rougarou, or the Garou. Not the French-Canadian singer-actor, but the werewolf in the region of Louisiana. Or I believe Louisiana, or something like that is how it's pronounced there. I do better with, non-Cajun stuff. So in the area of Louisiana is more likely to be known as the Rougarou. And what I've found to be the main differences between this type of werewolf and just your general run-of-the-mill werewolf is that there's a few different ways that the Rougarou, our legend, has it to be created or act. The first one I read up on was, or a little bit on, it's really just mentioned, is that apparently it is compelled by magic, and this lasts for 101 days, and it's called the blood-sucking legend. I have there was no information on what that even meant. That leads me to think more of something like the chupacabra over a werewolf.
Or a vampire.
Also, it is described to be both wolf-like or dog-like. And if I'm not mistaken, chupacabra has been likened to dogs in certain sightings too.
Yes.
So maybe that's why there's some similarities. I find it more likely, though, that the other things are the quote-unquote legit stories behind it. Being as, like most monster stories in the world, it is primarily used to inspire fear and obedience in especially kids. These stories for the Rougarou include the fact that it is apparently frequently used as a story to keep people following the rules of Lent.
Now, for those of us who don't know, what is Lent?
From my experience of what I remember, it's been a long time since I've practiced Catholicism at all.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I remember is a time period where you fast something, you give up something, basically in order to prove your obedience to the religion. It's probably more detailed than that and more meaningful than that, but that's what I recall from it. For this, though, there's two different stories for this. One is that the Rougarou is created by being somebody who has not followed the rules of Lent for 7 years straight. 7 years in a row.
Okay.
And the other is that the Rougarou hunts down people who are not following the rules of Lent.
So they're basically a Catholic attack dog.
Well, no.
Okay.
Attack dogs aren't generally created by not following rules.
Okay.
That's all I got. So, and it does seem that most of these stories are inspired by French legends that moved to Louisiana with the settlers, with the French settlers. And in that sense, I think there is actually some legends like that in French Canadian areas too.
I was actually going to ask that.
Yeah, and these are the things I found to be primarily separate from what I know of werewolves as a whole, which is admittedly not much. The only research I've ever really done in werewolf, besides watching Silver Bullet a lot when I was a kid, would be looking into how they operate mechanically in D&D and what the fuck is up with sticky rice being part of how to get... No, that's vampire, isn't it? Yep.
Yeah, it's vampire.
There's a type of vampire that you have to like walk on sticky rice once a day to prevent yourself from becoming one if you've been bitten or some shit like that. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay, that's odd.
So pretty much I know nothing about werewolves. Honestly, information for the Rougarou, there was more pop culture references than there was actually information on this creature.
Okay, that's fun.
One of them was very interesting to me, though, because it was in a book that the title escapes me right now, that it was brought to consciousness, as it says, by a Dakota native. And that reminded me of...
wasn't it something of Crazy Horse?
Yeah, it's like the story of Crazy Horse or in the memory of Crazy Horse or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, I mean that's unfortunately like all I really have for this. Like, I probably could have gotten into more just general werewolf stuff, but I wanted to keep it to the Cajun inspired werewolf.
Okay.
There's just not a whole lot there. It's not like there's no like I couldn't find anything on sightings or anything like that. So hopefully my next cryptid I do will be much more interesting.
So why do you think there are tales that come from it dealing with Catholicism?
I mean, it's not like Catholicism hasn't been known for using fear to make people obedient.
Yeah, it seems weird that it specifically involves Lent. I don't know, it just seems weird to me.
So yeah, so it's like a thing to enforce you being obedient to Catholicism.
Just that specifically being the thing it revolves around.
Well, probably because I mean they probably have different things for different types of religious things. I know for Easter they have the terror that is the Easter bunny, and you know Christmas has
Krampus or
no, that's Germany. That's just Germany in general. No. No, I was gonna say Santa Claus, who stalks you all year long to then break into your house and give you quote unquote gifts.
Or coal.
Yes.
I look, I never said any of it made sense.
None of it makes sense. None of it's even actually Christian. Except for maybe Lent. I don't really know anything about Lent as far as that goes. As far as I know, Lent could be just a Catholic thing and not even a Christian thing. I don't know if Baptists and other Christians follow Lent.
I honestly don't know. Right offhand. I'd have to call Dad and ask.
You weren't raised very religious, were you?
I mean, Nanny and them dragged me to church every Sunday when I was down there. So, yes?
Question mark?
Yeah. I fell into more of stuff dealing with, like, the natural world. And then a series of terrible events occurred in my life that made me sure there was no kind of good greater entity.
I think I didn't mean to get into philosophy or anything here, but I think that the idea that the omnipotent being of the universe would be pure good. if there is a specific one omnipotent being of the universe, it doesn't make any sense at all that it would be pure good.
No, it doesn't.
I could potentially agree with balance or something along those lines, but balance doesn't mean good.
No.
And maybe that's what is meant by things like God works in mysterious ways. But anyway, this is neither here nor there. We're not here to discuss religion. It is interesting that this does have religious connotations, as most werewolf stuff is not. Like, Silver Bullet's not religious that I can remember. It's been a long time since I watched it.
Not that I can think of.
But
Dog Soldiers isn't.
Right. It's not a... Well, there's something about... They try they have a silver cross or something like that works.
Yeah.
But that's because it's silver, not a cross.
Yeah.
The only thing kind of religious about it is the fact that there are werewolves that are werewolves are supposedly the enemy of the vampires, and vampires are basically anti-Christians. Anti-religious in general, it's been like broadened, but it used to be just crosses.
It used to be just crosses. Now it's most holy symbols.
I think it's supposed to be all holy symbols, which technically would mean that upside down crosses, as that being a Satanist thing, would be
in
something
theory
that hurts them to them.
would work against them. But yeah. Wow, that's a rabbit hole we could go down.
Yeah, or we could talk about Thunderbirds, because I don't really like talking about religion that much.
No, you don't. All right, so the one I decided to look into is Thunderbirds. That's what cryptozoologists use to describe large bird-like creatures that tend to be described like the Thunderbirds in most Native American legends.
Pterodactyls?
No, like giant eagles and giant condors type thing.
How is that different than a pterodactyl?
These are feathered.
How do you know pterodactyls weren't?
With what we currently understand.
With what we currently understand, there's a good chance that they were feathered.
True.
Just like raptors and the T-Rex.
Well, T-Rex is just a giant chicken.
Well, that
literally.
doesn't look, don't dispute chicken's claim on being voracious creatures.
The chicken came first.
Oh my.
It was just giant and
had teeth
instead of a beak. But interestingly enough, though, there is some fossil record of giant birds, the teratorns, which had wingspans 12 to 18 feet, living at the same time as early man, which is probably where the Native American legends stem from.
And maybe even the whole idea of like a rock.
Yeah, rocks, things like that. So there have been several throughout the last 200 years. There have been several sightings reported. The earliest one that I could find a reference to was in 1890, where two ranchers stated they had killed a winged monster that resembled a huge alligator, 92 feet in length, with an 8-foot-long head, jaws, thick set of strong, sharp claws, smooth, hairless body with a maximum diameter of 50 inches, and a massive pair of wings comprised of thick, nearly transparent membrane.
Sounds like they're describing the worst pterosaur ever.
And it sounds like they're describing a pterosaur or pterodactyl. The estimated wingspan was 160 feet.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah, that's like Rodan. That's getting towards Rodan.
No. He's got like a wingspan of like...
I think it was like 800 feet.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But...
Isn't that why you wanted to do the Thunderbird?
Yes, yeah. Rodan is the reason I wanted to do the Thunderbird, because I love Rodan. And, throughout the years, people have stated that they actually have had photographical evidence of it, and it always seems to go missing right before they're supposed to show it, or they loaned it to a friend and the friend lost it, or, yada,
Well,
yada,
I hear
yada.
there's an evangelical that may have a picture of a pterosaur that was shot down during the Civil War times. Maybe that's a Thunderbird.
I mean, maybe. Cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman wrote about several Thunderbird sightings during the 1940s. One in 1948, 3 individuals in Overland, Illinois, spotted what they originally thought was a passing plane, and then realized the plane was flapping its wings.
Oh, so it's an early Da Vinci plane.
1948, so it'd be a late Da Vinci plane, but yeah.
True. It's Kid Icarus.
Yeah, we'll go with that
What's
one.
his name?
I believe, yes, Icarus.
No. So, Kid Icarus is not Icarus. Kid Icarus is from the game.
Oh, Pip.
Pit. Yeah. I don't remember his name.
Let's see. A few weeks later in Atten, Illinois. What is with all these Illinois? A man and a son saw what they described to be an
It's
enormous,
starting to suggest to me that there might be some weird natural gases in Illinois.
enormous bird-like creature with a body shaped like a naval torpedo. The creature was flying at least 500 feet up and cast the shadow of a small passenger airplane. So
90 feet's not very high.
500 feet.
Oh, I misheard you.
Similar sightings occurred in Missouri. However, the one in Missouri once.
So there's no information about like the Thunderbird itself, like what it could possibly be as far as like ancestry goes.
That's what I was about to get to.
Nest.
So the one in Missouri, when they set a trap to try to catch one, and they found that the bird they caught was actually a blue heron.
As opposed to a red herring.
Exactly. So they're like, yeah, that was probably just people were probably just seeing things wrong. And that's probably what everybody was seeing in Missouri. In this one's among the most interesting ones, personally. July 25th, 1977. Okay?
Yeah.
In Illinois, about 9 p.m., a group of 3 boys were playing in a residential backyard. 2 large birds approached, chasing the boys. 2 of them got away. 1 got picked up by one of the birds about 2 feet off the ground before the kid fought itself free.
So what you're suggesting is that they're not even very good predators.
No, and so most of these sightings, according to a actual ornithologist, someone who studies birds, most of them are probably Andine condors, which have wingspans 8 to 10 feet. They're still big birds, but they're not like birds of legend size, if that makes a good enough argument. And you know, their reasoning behind this is, look, with all of the avid bird watchers we have between the US and Canada, somebody would have been like, boom, picture. Here we go.
No,
it exists.
There's a lot of places in the mountains that we don't have very good people coverage of because it's the fucking mountains.
Yeah.
Especially like the Rocky Mountains because, you know, they're sharper
than the Appalachian.
Apple chain.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, I mean...
There's also just densely forested areas. I mean, look at Bigfoot. We haven't caught him yet.
I mean, that's
her.
That's the argument of whether or not any of the things we cover actually exist. I mean, would I like the idea that
What if
these
there's-
things do exist or did exist at some point?
That's actually what I was going to
The pterosaurs did.
So hold on. But what if there's just like some mini style Godzilla thing going on where we have Bigfoot as King Kong and
Thunderbird as Rodan.
Just happening in the Rocky Mountains.
I feel very uncomfortable with the fact that we live in the Rocky Mountains.
We don't live in the Rocky Mountains. We live in a valley of the Rocky Mountains.
You're not helping.
Well, we're not in the forested area that they would be doing this at.
No, it'd be, Tahoe.
I was thinking more north, but
Okay, yeah.
like, what's that state called? Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon. But I mean, look, maybe it's the skeptical side of me or cynical side, whichever one you want to call.
Do you think Thunderbirds are real? Do you think that they would be like a descendant of a pterosaur? If you do think they're real, what do you think is going on here?
I think there's a chance that there may be some sort of pterosaur still in existence. But it's definitely not
Well, there is. It's
the
called a
size that it used to be. But I think somewhere, probably here in the Rocky Mountains or somewhere down south along like Texas-Mexico border, there very well could still be something like a pterosaur in existence. Do I think that, I'm going to walk outside, look up and see a 60, 70-foot bird? No. I mean, could I find a condor out here? Yeah. Condors are big birds.
I think that you're suggesting a level of bird watching prowess that is beyond you right now.
Fair. What I'm saying is, could they exist? Sure. But we don't have any proof did they exist
Well, yes,
before?
that's what makes them a cryptid. That's not what I was asking.
They did exist before. The question is, do they still exist?
No, that's not
yes.
the question at all. I was asking you if you think Thunderbirds are a thing.
Are we talking like Coincicatl Thunderbird?
No, we're not talking about literally summons thunder, necessarily. But what I'm suggesting is just like the
description of a giant bird.
Yes, this extra sized, this plus sized bird.
I believe what created the original tales were the pterothorns that lived alongside Ancient Man. Now, throughout the years, people seeing things like that.
So you think it's just a story being passed out at this point?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to be wrong because I think that would be amazing.
Until it picks up your son and offs with it.
No, I'll catch that motherfucking bird.
Really?
Yes.
You just suddenly sprout wings and fly?
I will catch that motherfucker. My tiny human is not a bird's snack. Now the chihuahua next door, whatever.
It's a chihuahua.
It would be a snack.
What bird would eat a chihuahua as if it's going to give them any sustenance?
Maybe an eagle.
Look.
Or a hawk.
It is skin wrapped around bones filled with angry.
It's only half filled with angry. The rest of it's trembling.
From the anger.
What about you?
What about me?
Do you think they exist?
Thunderbirds?
No.
Who could say? I didn't do the research on them.
Werewolves.
Werewolves? So here's what gets me about werewolves. Why the fuck is it always wolves?
It's only wolves in Europe and North America. In upper North America. Like the Namaru, I believe is the way it's pronounced, in South America, can take on many different forms.
Well, that'd be a changeling, not a were thing.
Its strongest is a jaguar.
Did you know were is masculine?
Yeah, isn't it ver?
I just mean like werewolf suggests man wolf.
Yeah.
Not
person wolf.
Right. But I mean, I would like to believe werewolves are a thing because I don't know. that seems like a cool thing. It could be a thing. And I do think that there are things in this world that we just haven't discovered yet in many different ways. That said, probably not.
Our world doesn't seem to be as strange as we'd hope it would be.
Yeah. That's why we turn to fiction.
That's fair.
So next Decryptid, we'll be talking about 2 different creatures than these 2. And that's all the forewarning you're getting on that.
Yeah.
Because
hopefully you guys...
I've completely forgotten what they were.
Hopefully you guys kind of enjoy this. I enjoy reading about the Thunderbirds.
Hopefully we'll be able to find creatures that will be able to have more information to distill something kind of legit about. I mean, well, I'm not saying that we're cryptozoologists, but we both have an interest. Cryptids are fucking cool. And this may turn into more than just cryptids at some point eventually.
Yeah, there are other...
change the show name when we do that.
Yeah, there are other mysteries in the world still. Well, I suppose that's the end of the episode.
Please like, comment, follow, and share. And also, more importantly, thank you for listening.
Take care.
Bye.